What's up guys, TheMainManSWE here, hoping you're all doing awesome as usual. So a couple of days ago I posted a video regarding an opinion I have on Tekken. I've shared this a couple of times, how I feel like at intermediate and beginner level of play, Tekken is rather imbalanced. And I talked for 24 minutes, I gave a lot of arguments, I shared an opinion on the game. And I said in the video that I understand that everyone doesn't feel the way I do. I just like to share my opinions, and if people don't agree, I mean, that's perfectly fine. But I got a bit disappointed with the response to it, and it started with fantastic American player, Horang player, guy everyone looks up to, you know, Speed Kicks, took to Twitter to respond to the video. Someone told me on my stream, when I streamed the day after, like, he responded to your video, I mean, check it out. And I was like, oh damn, that's awesome, I'd love to hear his arguments on this. And some disappointment would follow when, let's see, I'm going to make this slightly bigger. So there's a scrub rant on YouTube, and just immediately it's sort of aggressive. He won't even mention me by name, and immediately I'm a scrub. And I just knew in my video even I said, judging by his full response, we're going to read all of it. He didn't watch the video, I think, but I even say in the video, like, I'm going to be called a scrub by a lot of people, and it's a bit disheartening because if I am a scrub, and I'm nowhere near as good as Speed Kicks, I mean, it's a fucking legend compared to me, but I'm not the worst Tekken player in the world, you know? I'm not amazing, but I'm kind of far from the worst Tekken player in the world. Like, if you call me a scrub, you're pretty much calling every goddamn Tekken player out there a scrub. I mean, if we talk statistically, it's like really 99.99% of Tekken players. 2 million people bought this game, you know. So there's a scrub rant on YouTube getting a lot of attention and sort of spreading the scrub mentality around to lower level Tekken players. The main message of it being that the game is unbalanced on lower levels, being some characters are harder than others. I don't know what to even say. The game gives you options to counter everything. Not knowing the counter to things does not mean that they don't exist within the game. The game's balance isn't at fault. Dude, you're just complaining about the game because you don't know how to play it. LOL. So the last part, but what he says prior to that, the game gives you options to counter everything. Not knowing the counter to things does not mean that they don't exist within the game. I never argued this in the video. And this got posted to Reddit, and then suddenly, I didn't read all the messages on Reddit, but I just saw the top, you know, with 1 million thumbs up, Speed Kicks comment, and it's like, oh great. Now I have the Tekken community responding to something I never even said. And that just disappoints me, you know. And I know people don't, maybe on the internet, it's very rich on content, you know, we always want the next video, we have short attention span, I guess. And I was talking for 24 minutes. That's a lot to take in. But I actually said in the video that, of course, on high level of play, nothing is imbalanced or broken. Eddie and Ling require tremendous amounts of dedication and creativity to work on the highest level. They're very difficult. I talked about Claudio's hop kick being kind of bullshit at lower levels, but on high level, Claudio's super hard to play with his very limited move list and weak low options. It's like, I never even argued this. I mean, and then I gotta see on Reddit like 200 plus responses to something I never even said. So that was a bit annoying. So I'm just once again just going to try and show my argument. And it could be good to watch this video together. It's from Tekken Tag Tournament 2. And it's the classic Capo back 1-4 we had in that game. So Rage Capo, oh, you got a counter hit. And this is without a wall. Boop, back, boop, you're dead. So I'm gonna go back to my beautiful set with the beautiful Kelmy here. Hello Kelmy, by the way, if you're watching this video. So, why did I show that back? No! Why did I show that back one for? Because back 1-4 in Tag 2 led to a pretty big overrepresentation of eddies in lower levels of play and intermediate levels of play. And I mention it because it pretty much encapsulates my argument perfectly. Doing a back 1-4 out of an execution standpoint and a strategic standpoint, it was never really a big deal at beginner and intermediate level of play, because it's very easy to do. I don't know anyone who can't push back 1-4. And so this is what was required to do it. And this is what was required to counter it. I mean, the one way to properly counter that move that high level players did was after the first 14 frame hit, you would do a perfect sidestep. You know, very hard to do on reaction. And if you, and of course, if people spammed that, it got easier, but it's still very hard to do, you know? And you could sidewalk the second hit, you can try and backdash cancel out of it, but it was still a thing that was so easy to do, but to counter it defensively, it was immensely hard. And this was something that didn't affect the higher levels of play that much. You could still see the move. But in my eyes, at beginner and intermediate, it kind of ruined the game. It was just too effective considering how little effort it was to do the move. And then I just found it interesting that Tekken 7, Eddie was revealed for Tekken 7. And everyone said, everyone saw in testing, we saw that Eddie's back 1-4, the counter hit full launch we had in Tag 2, that was removed. And his slippery kick, so that's his relax, low launch, that was nerfed so that it wouldn't go through the block anymore. Now it was a proper block stun. Both of these nerfs to me was like, it was a godsend. It was like, thank you for making him fair for beginner and intermediate. Not saying this was a problem at high level of play, it wasn't. But then I would see pro players immediately take to Twitter and say, oh, rip Eddie. Eddie's gone, unplayable. Won't be able to see him at tournaments. And I was like, all they did was remove the bullshit. He still has his down forward 2, up forward 4, sidestep 3+4 launcher. They buffed his down forward 4, on counter it that low, you know, he gets up 3+4 for a huge chunk of damage. And he still has very strong mix-ups. To me, like, Eddie's still a very viable character. They just removed the bullshit. And then lo and behold, of course, Eddie still works. I mean, ask Yon Ding or Saint if Eddie's complete crap now, or rip Eddie. Of course not. They just removed something, back 1-4, that was pure bullshit. It just ruined the game at lower levels of play. So once again, I'm just going to say that at high levels of play, nothing was ever imbalanced. I was just talking about the lower levels of play. That was what I was doing. And that is my opinion. I mean, I stand by that. There are more examples of this, like the Eddie 3-4, his snake edge. It's like, once I've said this numerous times, when you've blocked that, you've done the hard part. You should get your launch. But of course he has some crushing attribute where a lot of launchers will just whiff after. You know, and what for those characters, the proper response is to crouch cancel and do a down for 2 or a standing launcher. And it's like, do you have any idea how hardcore that is? It's like, How hard is it to do Eddie Snake Edge? Once again, it's very, very easy to do. And to counter it, how many people even know what a crouch cancel is? Why does he have crushing attributes as he's standing? Stuff like that is unfair, in my opinion. And that is my opinion. You don't have to take it as anything other than that. People get so emotional, and I understand, like, Speed Kicks loves Tekken. I also love it, but I can still see that the game has flaws. But it's like some people just don't want to see that, you know. And if you don't agree with my opinion, that's fine. And I still can't believe that a game as hard as Tekken doesn't have a tutorial mode yet. I mean, explaining all of this very difficult stuff. Yeah, I hope everyone understands my argument now. That was what I wanted to touch upon. I feel like the game had stupid stuff and still has stupid stuff, where I'm gonna read actually an answer I got from someone which I thought was really really good. Oh, okay, I copied two answers from Reddit. First from Svetska Liga. He's obsessed with the subject. Here's the latest video. And obsessed with the subject. I saw you started that thread, Svetska Liga. Well, one of the threads at least. And I just... you were so aggressive in your wording that I just clicked your name and your post history. And I was like... like, yeah, you seem quite obsessed with me. I mean, if we're going to talk about obsessed stuff. I wonder if I would see your apartment, would I see printouts of my face with the eyes cut out? Like, serial killer vibe. But you write, is chess an unbalanced game because there is certain low tier, easy to learn strategies that can be abused against less skilled players? Chess is an interesting analogy. I've used it a lot of times with Tekken. Like at high level, it's like chess. But chess unbalanced in the same way as Tekken. I mean, chess, you know, you only have a certain number of, well, what's it called? Pieces, you know, and they have their particular moves. In Tekken, you have 40 characters with 100 moves each. That's a lot of rules to keep track of. And chess is a thinking man's game. You know, you make a move and then your opponent has just time to reflect and take that in, and he can plan his next move. Tekken is like this. You know, it's built on muscle memory. You know, you see a move and you have to react to it immediately. There's no time to think. So a lot of punishes in this game. But the guy who wrote below me is going to get into that, muscle memory. And chess, there's no execution barrier in chess. But a fun analogy would be like, for chess, would be you move your peon like this. Boop. It's not very easy. No, I'm sorry, it's not very hard, right? There's no execution barrier. This is back 1-4, taking the peon like this. Boop. And in my eyes, countering that back 1-4 would be lifting a 10-pound peon. Boop. That symbolizes the months or a year people would practice movement and punish to get around back 1-4, compared to the 5 minutes it was to learn to do back 1-4 and the variations and mix-ups afterwards. And then I just want to close this video with what I thought was a fantastic post. So I'm not taking credit for this. This was Chow Taro on Reddit. And he really very well describes the barrier, the insane learning curve it is to play Tekken and the mountain you have to climb. So I'm quoting now. Most players have 100% of a control on the outcome. Okay. He's responding to someone. Someone writes, Most players have 100% of a control on the outcome, but are just unwilling to put the work in. So that's what someone wrote. And then Choutaro responds by saying, and that is precisely why Tekken is not a popular game. Because to even know what you're doing, first, you need to be good. Without legacy knowledge and experience from previous games, a new player needs to put in at least 100 hours to understand basic concepts like block punishing, whiff punishing, setups, mix-ups, crushing system, oki, and even something as simple as how to get off the fucking ground. Another 300 hours to apply these concepts competently, that's yellow rank competent, to their gameplay. And on top of that, they still need to learn character matchups, how to deal with specific moves and stances that can easily cheese you to death if you don't know the answer. Assuming that understanding each character takes 10 hours, I would say, this is my opinion, it takes more than that, which obviously isn't enough if you want to take in account of building the muscle memory to deal with them. That is a grand total of 800 hours of learning. And this is not playing for fun, by the way, this is just so you don't get completely wrecked. Just to feel like you're in control of the game. I remember playing CS 1.6 when I was like 8 or something, and I felt like I was in control of the game within 1 hour of playing it. Of course I wasn't a good player and probably had a frag to death ratio of 1 to 10, but still I felt in control and could intuitively tell why I was losing. Maybe other people had better reaction, better aiming, better teamwork, knew the map better than I did, etc. In Tekken, if you just play the game for fun without taking an active approach to learning, you can clock 500 hours to the game and still can't concretely tell why you aren't as good as others. I don't think unbalanced is the right word to describe the game at a low to intermediate level, but I do think it's inaccessible. There's simply too much hard knowledge to grind before you even feel like you're in control of the game. As a result, it's hard for new players to enjoy the game and they stop playing within 3 months of buying it. Anyone who takes 5 minutes to learn how he works will understand his biggest flaw. All you can learn in 5 minutes against Hwoarang is that back 3 is punishable and maybe build enough muscle memory to punish it 1 every 20 times in a real match with a character with a reliable mid-range launcher like Leo's down for 2. How about the remaining 150 moves, lol? The main man can sometimes be a elitist whining bitch, but he does have a point. And yeah, I can whine quite a lot on my stream. In certain occasions, I can whine quite a lot. But that's like in-game whining. It's a competitive game. I demand a lot out of myself, and I can be a grumpy fuck. Much less than in Tag 2, but I take that. But when it comes to this opinion, I mean, I don't really feel like it's whining as people want to say that it is. I mean, I just feel like it objectively is like this. Defense in Tekken is extremely hard to acquire. Offense is very easy to acquire. And when you have characters like, for example, Eddie, who can just pressure like crazy, and the counter to him is extremely specific and extremely, you know, execution oriented with crouch cancels and precise sidestep and backdash canceling, I feel like the game becomes unbalanced, and back 1-4 was removed, and I like to the counter property, and I'd like to think, I mean, I whined about that move for 5 years, and I'd like to think that maybe I had something to do with it being removed. Perhaps not, but it's just so great that it's removed. Eddie is still a very viable character. He just hasn't got that bullshit stuff that makes everyone pick him up, you know, because I don't have to struggle very hard to do well with this character. Oh, when I reach the red ranks and orange ranks, I'm going to start to have trouble. But people in green ranks, even people who have devoted a lot of time to the game, have an insanely hard time countering this. And I needed 5 minutes to learn how to do it. That's what I'm arguing. And I feel like there are still a lot of examples of that in the game. Like launching throws. Like Xiaoyu's launching throw. It's like, what is this? Okay, not a problem at high level, but in green ranks. How hard is it to... Or how easy is it to break throws in Tekken? Yeah, it's not very easy. So I guess this is going to conclude this video. I don't feel like I have anything else to say on the subject. Feel free to disagree. I mean, that's why we're here. We are sharing opinions on the holy internet. So yeah, I guess that's it. And I hope you have a nice day.